Okay, I am the first speaker of the conversation team. My speech gonna start in three, two, one. Okay, here, judges, human survival is not a science experiment. Today, we are debating whether this house would implement a global ban on research aimed at developing artificial general intelligence or AGI. To understand this debate, you have to understand what AGI actually is. Unlike narrow AI we use today for specific tasks, AGI is designed to learn, reason, to adapt across completely unrelated fields, and crucially, it has the potential to self-improve. As I automatically win this debate because of three simple facts. A, the risk is unacceptable. When the AI gets smarter, we risk humanities. B, the reward is unnecessary. The ban would move away from AGI and divert focus on normal AI to improve and get more accurate result. C, a ban is only a break. Right now, the US and China are in a race. Ignoring safety, you cannot ask them politely to just stop. The only way to enforce this is a global ban where we can cut the electricity and the resources need to build it. To our first argument, the ban redirects the most dangerous and sensitive structure in the history. The simple truth is companies are reckless race to build AGI and are actively ignoring the safety. The deep evidence here is just we aren't just guessing that companies are ignoring safety. We have the recipe. Right now, global AI industry operate under a race dynamic where speed is reward and safety is penalized. OpenAI, DeepMind, Anthropic, and Chinese state are researching programs are all explicitly racing toward AGI. Currently, the ratio of capacity investment to safety investment is approximately 100 to 1 and widening every year. People closest to the technology are terrified. OpenAI's own super human team dissolved in 2024 after its leader resigned because safety was being despite. Furthermore, we cannot predict the tech. GPT-4 arrives years ahead of what leading AI researcher predicts, meaning the field does not know how fast it is moving. For the impact, the ban eliminated this race. It forced a massive talent and capital shift, taking 99% of the funding, willing to make AI smarter and pushing us towards safety. And this push is my humanity a decade. We need to figure out how to survive this technology. And why is this exclusive? Why is this ban is only solution? Soft and regulators cannot overcome trillion dollars insensitive. As long as the building AGI is legal, company will find a loophole to win absolute global dominance. The only ban to destroy this fund are or permanently starving the race of billions and dollars to require to run it, guarantee the dangerous race to the bottom is structurally dismantled. Argument number two, the ban is prevented to permanent power concentration. The symbol is however build AGI first get the permanent, unchallengeable control over the future. AGI is power
What
concentration
information?
thing. T- Technology of unpredictable scale in normal technology race. Competitors eventually catch up, but AGI first mover advantage is self-reinforcing. The first AGI could literally design the second AGI, meaning the lead component rather than the machines.
Information.
Whichever actor builds first achieves the form of permanent, unchallengeable technological dominance. Right now, there's absolutely no governance framework, no international treaty, and no democratic accountability mechanism to manage AGI. Without the ban, AGI government get built
What information?
reactively under duress by people negotiating against an actor who's already passed the most powerful technology ever created. With the ban, government get built productively by equal before any single actor have achieved permanent dominance. The difference between opposition world and elsewhere is different between a genuine international governance and the permanent subjugation of the nation that didn't win the race. Argument number three, the ban protect the benefit of narrow AI. The symbol is we
What
don't need the
information?
super intelligent no, please. A super intelligent AI to get amazing medical and scientific benefit regularly does that safely. The opposition team will argue the ban costs humanity enormous AI benefit, but this argument is entirely false. The ban targets general autonomously intelligent. Every current AI benefit continues on the day one of the ban, without single exception. Medical AI
Point
diagnosing
of information.
cancer, climate model predicting extreme weather, and drug discovery algorithm all continues, all improves, and all deliver benefit throughout the band. This gives us an ultimate risk to reward ratio. We achieve a 99% of the impractical benefits that most opposition promise while taking 0% of the external risk, because narrow AI is domain specific. It's a tool, not an agent. It's discovered drug, but it
Point of
doesn't wake
information.
up one day and decide to manipulate the stock market or the engineer a bioweapon. And the opposition hold the progress hostage with a false dilemma. It never even use AI to cure cancer. The collateral damage, like massive global unemployment, potential loss of human control, means society will be
Point of
broken
information.
to actually enjoy those benefits. Only the proposition side guarantee a safe future where we can safely reap the reward of artificial intelligence without the medical benefits as Trojan's horse. To seek the civilization ending threat, we beg to propose. Oh, sorry.
Point.
Oh, what?
Point of information.
Oh, no, please.
I thank the previous speaker for that speech, inviting the first opposition speaker to start their speech.
All right, I will be starting in. Oh yeah, my name's Henry. Pronouns are he, him, and I'll take POIs verbally, please. Thank you very much. All right, I will be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow, I was extremely frightened about my future after the opposition told me that AGI is going to take over the world and wipe out the human race. And then I realized that society said the exact same thing about the Industrial Revolution, the internet, and rock music. I'll integrate my rebuttal and you'll hear it down the bench, but to highlight a few things. Firstly, companies have an incentive to be safe because there are already regulations in place, one, and two, they have to make a profit. So if their AI makes too many mistakes or something like ChatGPT, people aren't going to use it. And we've already seen distrust of ChatGPT because of that. And secondly, the same reason people are already sketchy of iPhone companies is going to apply here. Now, the other thing they told us is that there's going to be a consolidation of power in our world. But in our world, because anybody can conduct research and there's competition and consumer sovereignty, AI can develop at any company, whereas in their world, only governments and companies with the capital to do so illegally are able to. One question set up, which is going to be, what does the status quo look like? People are already insanely cautious of AI. So the fact that we even have this topic, AI is widely discussed. AGI is, we see this skepticism. So AGI is getting more advanced, and therefore there's significant pressure and cautions around it. So people have an incentive to be safe. Two main points I'm going to give you today. Firstly, on why we get better societal well-being, and secondly, on why we get better public safety. So, societal well-being, let's look at the benefits to humanity which we uniquely provide. This point will prove that AGI is overall beneficial to society. So first, on what does society need? The main goal both sides should be trying to achieve is the most positive well-being and standard of living for people worldwide. Whether this looks like the best healthcare, wealth, or overall quality of living, this brings people the most happiness. No, the reason whatever global body is imposing this must ensure this is because people don't consent to be born into this world, and therefore we trade off our right of freedom to ensure global rules benefit us best. Why then would not having this ban be best for society? Firstly, AGI is incredibly helpful and efficient, just like normal AI, which has already brought numerous and extreme benefits like medicine, incorporating AI to deliver better treatment or manufacturing industries, implementing AI to make production faster, meaning more resources in society. This is because AI is faster, makes less errors, and can do multiple things at once, making it far more efficient than humans. The same benefit applies to AGI too, only it is 1,000 times better because it can learn, reason, plan, and adapt, making it way better. This is comparable to millions of scientists working instantly. And also, we're going to see more scientific and medical breakthroughs. Should it not develop, we're not going to, and overall global productivity will go down. And note here that this isn't an exclusive benefit that side affirmative cannot provide because they ban it before it even starts. They therefore have to justify getting rid of it for such an impact. Okay, 2, we get more jobs and economic growth. This is because AI is one of, if not the most rapidly growing industries in the world. The opportunities are endless. So therefore, the amount of job creation is exponential. This looks like coders, researchers, entrepreneurs, engineers, software design. Obviously, they can say it takes jobs from like manufacturers or whatever, but note here that jobs that AI creates and stuff, like they said this exact same thing about the Industrial Revolution and the emergence of modern technology, yet global employment is at record highs. This is because the world adapts to new advancements and new jobs are always needed. So companies on their side, we're actually going to see the loss of these job opportunities because we don't have this development. We don't have researchers. They're all going to be fired because they're all banned from doing their work now. 3, we get more global advancement in general. We see breakthroughs in health, in climate change, and in science. These will be enormous. AGI can work so efficiently, and it can learn better than any human. Comparatively, side affirmative intuitively loses all of these outcomes that we so desperately and urgently need on things like climate change, which we only have a limited amount of time to tackle. The outcomes at this point are pretty simple. We're going to get more benefits to society and societal well-being, development in key areas that society urgently needs, like health, and we're going to see more job growth and economic benefits. Before I move on to the second point, I will take a POI if anybody has one. All right, that's all good. Looks like no. All right, I'm going to move on to the second point now, which is where we get a safer society overall. This will show that we fundamentally ensure citizens of all across the world are safer and have, better. So first, we need to address the effectiveness of a global ban. We should note here that it is impossible to enforce because there is just about no global law that has ever applied universally because countries have an incentive to do what's best for themselves, and they also compete with other countries. For example, if we look at the space race. So taking affirmative at their best, we will still see development and research happening just illegally without following the proper safety mechanisms and regulations. But at worst, the ban just straight up fails, like the social media ban in Australia, which has seen little success because it's very difficult to impose these global technology regulations. So why then is the opposition society unsafe should the ban succeed? Okay, we give you a couple reasons here. Firstly, because research is going to be so limited, should it ever somehow develop underground, like we proved, or through its own other means, we will have little to no public knowledge or really knowledge at all on how to manage it safely. So if they did want to say that AGI is a threat to the world's ability to not be controlled by bots or something, which is what they kind of spent their entire speech saying, well, we at least ensure that it develops safely and we know how it works because we've actually done research on it and it's managed safely in the same way as the internet today. Comparatively, side affirmative will see this technology emerging without any safety or any knowledge on it, and society has no idea how to manage it. So at best, we completely struggle to work with it or capitalize on it, and at worst, it completely takes over the world, which is funny because that's what they said that we're going to get. All right, to ban this research would be like banning vaccine research because people think vaccines are a little bit too dangerous. It doesn't mean we ban it outright. It means that we continue research so we know how to do it safely and we know how to do it properly, most efficiently, and most beneficial for society, which we proved is what we should be most trying to achieve in this debate. The second thing we'll tell you here is about companies. We say that companies have an incentive to do what people want because they have to deliver a profit to their shareholders. So if they don't perform well and their AI isn't good or their AI isn't safe or there's bad public sentiment around it or they have a bad public image, people simply aren't going to go to that company. The reason AI like ChatGPT is so popular is because it's the most efficient and it's the best working one and they have good statements on regulations and stuff. But we still see competition even within these big companies with Google AI, like Gemini AI, etc. So companies are successful in that they're known on our side and they're doing this known research into AI. Comparatively on their side, companies won't reveal AGI to the public because it's illegal. So this gives them less burden because it's not in the public eye to do so safely. And therefore, we're going to see more risks. The outcomes of this point are pretty clear. So they have this very unclear and very risky enforcement of it. It's not possible to completely prohibit the enforcement of it. So they're just going to see it more shaky. It'll either be underground or it just won't be followed at all, but people have no incentive to follow these rules. And then the second thing here is we're going to see society not knowing how to manage it. So if we take their case, if this absolute extreme, that AI is going to completely take over the world or something, that on their side, society will have no idea how to manage it at all because there's no research being done. Note here that the topic also prohibits research on it. So not only has it developed riskily, but I don't know if that's a word, but it also has developed without any proper research into it. And society requires research on this because otherwise we won't know how to use it properly. So overall in this debate, we've proved to you that we get the most benefits to humanity and societal well-being, which is the fundamental burden that both sides will have to prove. We also get the better global economy because of job creation. And we also get more safety because on their side, there's no ability to going to have to hear a clear response to all of these things. And also note that they offered me 0 POIs, which I'm very sad about. Overall, very proud to oppose.
I thank the previous speaker for that speech, inviting the second proposition speaker.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Give me 1 second to set up my timer. Um, wait. All right, my speech will start in 3, 2, 1. How does the model actually works on our side? And there's two main actors in this motion at all. First is the major AI laboratories such as OpenAI, DeepMind, Anthropic, and Meta AI, right? If we actually visualize this span, this would mean that all those companies would restructure themselves, and rather than focusing on AGI, we would divert our focus onto something such as AI, narrow AI, and things that actually is beneficial to us, rather than AGI, something that could be a harm to society, right? As we know, narrow AI is way more accurate than AGI right now. So why are we diverting our resources to something that we are so unsure of? We don't even know its capability. Sure, it can be efficient. Um, but are we actually certain that it can help our society in the future, right? We're basically diverting all our resources. For example, in the case of you said job creations, we're basically diverting PhDs and all the scientists to doing things that we're uncertain of, to doing things that we don't even know that's even better than what we have currently right now, which is narrow AI. Because as of now, AGI is way more accurate. AGI is way less accurate because it is more general, and to actually help society, like you said, we need things that is more narrow. For example, narrow AI. For example, this is an example of if it's in the medical care, you will have medical AI rather than an AI that actually learn the stuff. So why does matter? Firstly, this institution do not disappear. They transform, meaning that they're transforming the narrow AI to actually make it better, but also it is simply safer for society. Secondly, their narrow AI will continue, meaning that their product, service, application that generates revenue and benefits user remain fully operational. Thirdly, what stops is a specific research track that possesses existential risk, recursive self-improvement architectures, general reasoning framework, cross-domain
Point of
transfer.
information.
We're not saying our proposition side is not saying that AGI is not good. AGI is good. It's just that as of now, currently in 2026, we're currently unable to control AGI, right? We don't have enough resources to actually control what it's doing. We're not yet capable to do certain things, right? So why don't we put a temporary pause, a temporary ban on AGI to actually improve our process, to improve our technology, so that when we are capable of controlling AGI, when we are capable of researching and developing this technology, we would unban it to continue research, right? We're not saying that AGI is bad. We're just saying that us right now, human, is simply incapable of doing so, because the other side have yet to prove why we as human are able to control AGI, because we both agree that AGI is
Point of
not good for
information.
human societies, right? Because we are currently unable to control it. For example, in the case of OpenClaw, the new model, the open source model developed by Peter Steinberg, it is an AGI model, and it can simply take over your computer or do bad things or do existential harm to your computer itself just by 3 simple lies. So we are simply incapable of doing so. Until the other side have proven to us, they have a burden to prove to us why we are capable of controlling
Point of
AGI.
information.
Third, Fourthly, the world's most talented AI researchers would go from racing toward danger to solving problems that most danger avoidable. What does this impact? Three main impact for this. First, alignment research go from underfunded afterthought of the AI industry to the entire purpose. Secondly, the competitive dynamics make safety impossible, race after race, or lose. Thirdly, for the first time in AI history, all the smartest people will be working on the same problem
Point of
rather than
information.
diverging all your researchers to every single small field and doing different things. Why don't we focus every single person into one specific field, finish developing it, and then consider AGI later on, right? Because when you're developing AI, you're not just developing AI itself, you're developing technologies, you're developing infrastructures, things that can actually help you in AGI research. Because sure, there are two different things, but there's so many similarities between those two. so that when you do AI research, you gain more infrastructures, you gain more technology to actually make sure that you are capable when you're doing AGI research. Because let me reiterate one thing: we're simply not banning them forever. It is a temporary ban so that we are able to control it. So that we are able to control it rather than being uncontrollable and destroying humanities.
Point of
Third,
information.
the second actor rather than the companies would be national governments, in this case, US, China, EU, UK, for example. Visualize this. In Beijing, the Chinese government AI development program has one goal: achieve AGI before the United States. This is basically the space race, but with AGI. In Washington, it's basically the same. Both governments fund their respective
Point of
champions, not
information.
because because remember, they're not certain that AGI is safe, but because they're scared of losing the race is worse than winning it unsafely. This is the promise. This is the prisoner dilemma of the AGI race, similar to how the space race was done back in the Cold War, right? They're unsafe of the actual outcome. They're just simply doing it just because they want to beat the other side, just because China wants to beat America and America wants to beat China. So what the bans requires from the government, actually, four main points: mandatory registrations of all AI research programs above defined computer thresholds. Secondly, submission to international verifications, inspections of major AI research facilities. Thirdly, expert
Point of information.
controls of AGI, specifically compute on research tool, not just narrow AI, specifically on the infrastructures that enable AGI development. And thirdly, redirection of state AI funding to narrow AI. So what this three main impacts that this will create. First, the geopolitical race dynamic. The most dangerous driver of unsafe AGI development is now neutralized until we're able to learn as a society on how to control AGI when we do get the technology better. But secondly, government AI budgets will redirect from capability raisings to government infrastructures, align research with
Point of
AI.
information.
Now, what the other team tried to claim is how it will create more job creations. But then let's flip this the other way around. The jobs created by AGI research are self-terminating. These are not long-term jobs. We are hiring the world's smartest people to build machines whose primary functions is to automate the very tasks these people do, right? What are they creating? They're creating machines that would take over their job one day. So what is actually happening here? They're not just creating more jobs, they're creating more jobs temporarily for a few years when that research is being done. But when the research have been done, what actually happens? Less job will be in existence because simply every AGI that's been developed is now taking over. Because once the research phase is over, the AGI is born. The AGI can write its own code, debug its own system, and conduct its own further research
Offense.
1,000 times faster than human. That is exactly what the other team said about how AGI is faster than human, right? So the job creation they are bragging about is a temporary bubble that they trap themselves in that leads directly to a permanent desert of unemployment. Secondly, the opportunity cost of human capital. Every PhD student and billion-dollar investment currently sucked into AGI black hole is a lost resource for the rest of AI society. The rest of society in general. If we ban AGI research, those thousands of brilliant minds don't just stay unemployed, they go to narrow AI, right? So this actually does not create more job opportunities. So even if they do, it doesn't make sense anyways. But then they will go to narrow AI research, for example, green for cancer research, green energy engineering, or in civil infrastructures field where we need human-driven solution that don't currently exist. So we are actually creating more benefit for society itself, and we're the one creating more better society. Secondly, they talk about restrictions. Restrictions doesn't work because AI or AGI have exponential growth and recursive self-improvement. By the time we realize specific restrictions are needed, the AGI may have already surpassed our ability to contain it. You cannot regulate a black box that learns to circumvent its own constraint. And that is why I highly urge the House to vote for this motion. Thank you.
Thank the previous speaker for this speech, inviting the second speaker.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are.
Okay. Starting the speech in 3, 2, 1.
In essence, under both sides of the debate, development of AGI will occur regardless of bans in both worlds. But under the proposition's world, we will lack preparation and risk the dangers. So the opposition present this idea that the risk of AGI is just too great and that humanity will be undermined and that we're just not prepared for this risk. Now, the risk remains regardless of a ban or not. One cannot effectively create a ban that could be enforced such that major powers like the US and China will no longer develop this promising technology. They are instead effectively banning global citizens and organizations who have the incentive of ensuring AGI safety and ensure that AGI will be developed properly and can be controlled with safety regulations. As a result, they ban normal individuals, remove jobs, and make AGI a tool that should be available to all, exclusive to those with enough. They will make it a tool that should be available to all, but they will make it exclusive to those with enough capital to conduct such development in secret. Now, the national powers will just continue to develop this anyway. We've seen these national bans before. We've seen these ideas that have been frowned upon. For example, back in the 60s, LSD was a drug that was frowned upon by essentially all of the international community, but we still saw LSD used by the CIA for their own experiments, for their own use, and for potential weaponization. AGI is not LSD. If anything, it's a lot better. We see that there are far less negative connotations with AGI. Public perception is far greater. And either way, we're going to see continued development under both sides of the House. But the problem is, under their side, it will be secret. Under our side, it will be public. Now, their systems will develop regardless. Now, the race to build AGI results in the undermining of safety is what the opposition presents, and we agree. That is why research must be permitted to keep the major companies and nations accountable, and so safety-based research and use becomes widely distributed and accessible for all. People don't realize how fast AI is being developed, and we absolutely agree with the opposition on this, and indeed this speed will continue without or with a ban. And they discuss how companies will gain increased dominance through success with this AGI, but this is true only under the opposition's house, as companies will lack the scrutiny because of the ban. Essentially, they are making a powerful tool exclusive to major powers, leaving it unknown to society, fueling concern, fear, and risk to our most vulnerable stakeholders and reducing any scrutiny to these major powers and major companies. Thus, no consolidation of power will also occur due to the competition among the different brands, among the different companies, among the different nations. And the opposition essentially continuously push this one central idea without discounting our attacks to the ban and proving why development won't occur on both sides. So they instead talk about how moral AI should be prioritized instead of AGI. But in essence, AGI is moral AI, but more advanced, valuable, and helpful. The only mechanism is the unknown information surrounding development, which is worse on their side. So essentially, it's like saying that we can't continue to develop cancer research because, one, we don't have the current technology to develop it, which may be true, but regardless, it's a good pursuit. Regardless, we should try and build work on finding a cure for cancer. But their logic has essentially taken that for AGI and said that we should not build AGI because of that logic. And they talk about how AGI cannot be controlled, therefore we should ban it. But if we are not capable, we need to become capable of controlling AGI. They talk about how we don't have the existing infrastructure, the existing knowledge to control AGI. But that's exactly why we need AGI research. So when this massive technological advancement and tool finally comes around, we know how to use it. We know how to use it safely. We are prepared. And that's exactly what the opposition are negating and don't want to happen. So if opposition's logic were to somehow all be 100% correct, it would essentially mean AGI would never exist in the first place. So their idea that banning it now, being a temporary ban, would just essentially be futile. They also talked about, instead of having all these researchers focusing on AGI, they want to funnel all the researchers into one single discipline and concentrate all this researching capability on a single idea. But this is just impossible. It's unrealistic. People have different ideas. People have different wants and aspirations, and you can't just funnel every single researcher in this one pursuit. And that's why we have different splits of moral AI, AGI, and hopefully they will become combined with the preparation and development of both to ensure safety for AGI. There wasn't too much content brought up at second speaker, mostly just reiteration of the first and assertion. Also, what prevents the AGI race occurring anyway in secret under the opposition side? A global ban won't succeed, sure.
If a global ban won't succeed, how does small restrictions actually prevent this?
Well, we don't have small restrictions. The whole point is that a global ban won't succeed, so preparation will occur under both sides. But under our side, we have people for preparation. We have preparation of AGI research, so we ensure that AGI is actually safe. Under their side, we're just having people secretly developing it. So the global ban will never work. That's why we've never had restrictions on AI. That's why we've never had restrictions on AGI, because it's unrealistic to expect it to work in the first place. Provide more logic, and I've already provided logic regarding this, and I'll answer more of that later in my speech. They talk about how AGI jobs are actually self-terminating, but no matter how the AI acts or it's created, it will always require maintenance and indeed methods to control it. Thus, AGI creates more jobs than terminating the current ones. Now, we won't give AGI complete control. AGI is not a replacement, but a tool. I think the opposition have misunderstood the understanding of what AGI actually is. It's not a sentient AI. It does not have a mind of its own. It is merely good at making connections. So we see with moral AI, it can regurgitate all this information and collate information, but it can't actually make connections. It can't, no, thank you, can't actually make resolutions for problems. This is what AGI does. It's not sentient. It doesn't have a mind of its own. So essentially, under our side, the benefits of AGI is that artificial general intelligence should not be a system that's feared. It should be a natural step forward in the evolution of technological advancement. Humans create technology to further advance our capabilities, improve technical efficiency, and better our standard of living. This technology, AGI, has the capable of, again, advancing human civilization through its ability to perform intellectual tasks comparable or exceeding human capability. AGI's advanced capabilities of learning, reasoning, planning, and adapting across multiple fields also allows it to go further than simple AI. Normal AI regurgitates and collects current known information that has its usage, but what would allow for further advancement is the ability to use this immense database of knowledge and actually create more resolutions, furthering humanity. This advancement is similar in scale to the Industrial Revolution, like my first speaker mentioned. And regarding jobs, we agree that some will be lost, but like in the Industrial Revolution, the emergence of new jobs will emerge and will be here to use, maintain, and advance AGI, and will far exceed the amount of jobs lost. Humanity undergoes technological revolutions all the time that have always been met with fearful opposition of populist Luddites, but humanity has always been better for it. So the risks of not supporting the research and the negative impacts on top of what I've already presented is that the opposition cannot at all enforce at a time a ban on AGI, such as the size of the world, secrecy of governments, and target approach to research. So the development of AGI will occur regardless, but when AGI succeeds and is thrust in society's grasp, we won't be ready. Development in secret will result in uncoordinated development without the sharing of research and the international learning of mistakes. Elon Musk has frequently said in interviews that AGI will only become a threat if we are not prepared. This lack of preparation only occurs under the opposition's world. Moreover, development of AGI in the opposition's world will encourage government research. That is why we are so proud to oppose. Thank you very much.
Thank the previous speaker for that speech, reminding the speakers that first and last minute is protected, so do not ask POS during that time. That being said, inviting the third proposition member.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Thank you.
Oliver.
One second, let me get a timer. All right, I'll begin on my first word. I think the current problem with the other side is they're saying they're developing all of these arguments inside a vacuum. The current state of AI is extremely corrupted, with half of OpenAI's team basically almost leaving. For example, Anthropic was founded. Anthropic is Claude, one of the rival OpenAI's competitor, was founded because the founder of OpenAI left of safety concerns about the pace of the development, and he left because OpenAI is currently prioritizing efficiency or quote unquote development over the safety and controlling of this AI, of this open AI. Even the guy that fathered the founding of AI leaves because the own current condition of AI, the race of AI is unethical and is going on this wrong direction. Now, I'll do some responding. Your first and second speaker is contradictory. The first speaker says that the current development of AI right now is really good, which I'll prove onto Right, I'll flip this to our side. The second speaker says that it is not possible, and you won't get cancer research or all of this without AGI. Now, the first thing is, who in the world said that we will stop cancer research? Cancer research itself is basically unsafe anyway in the first place. And another thing is, did you know that current narrow AI is working for the cancer research itself? And another thing is, you say that AI won't have a mind of its own. It can't make your resolution. You also, the same exact person, also said that in the same time, you saying there won't be any restriction on AI or the development of AI, which is contradictory. You say it will have a development, but you won't stop this at all. Now, reframe of AGI, because we've all understood it wrong. AGI is general. That does not mean it will be better than narrow AI. And another thing is AGI is not a thing yet. It is this concept that all of these companies are racing towards. The opposition is defending the right to build something that has never existed and whose safety cannot be guaranteed. They have not proved to you how specifically AGI can help better than current narrow AI. The thing you've mentioned about getting current data and coming up with resolution and solution is what narrow AI is. Narrow AI are AI that uses immense training data to help a specific task and is tailored to do so. You claim that AGI will improve human well-being through intelligence and only healthfulness. We actually agree with that. But the problem with your own point is that you've committed to the most fundamental error of this debate. You described the benefits that and then attributed them to AGI. You said that less errors. You stated all these things that the AI currently already does. The problem with this is there's no AGI, and all these benefits you saying that the development of AI, like less errors, multitasking across domain, medical diagnosis, climate modeling, all of this already exists in narrow AI. And we've proved to you on our model of the second speaker of how this narrow AI specifically and this band will look like across politically and all these AI in the other world. This opposition has not described AGI. They've described the current world, which is dominated by narrow AI, because AGI does not exist. The burden they failed to meet is the opposition needed to prove AGI specifically, generous, autonomous, self-improving intelligence. You need to prove how in the world AGI is going to better than AI, and AGI is a new type of and the problem is, AGI is a new type of AI, not the holy grail or the godly type of AI. AGI, you have not proved how it's going to be better. They did not do this. They named features that currently AI already has, and they called it arguments for AGI. Until they can show benefits that require specifically AGI that cannot be delivered by narrow AI, their well-being and all their arguments is our side, and we claim it. And another claim they said is a global ban cannot be reinforced. Therefore, restrictions from companies are better. Like, what in the world did this even mean? The opposition just made a case for it. They said that a global ban is not possible because countries and companies won't comply. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. If sovereign nations with armies, geopolitical interests, thousands of dollars in research will follow a binding international ban, why on earth would they follow a voluntary restriction imposed by private company? Their alternative is demonstrably weaker than the mechanism they just argued is too weak to work. If the stronger reinforcement mechanism fails, the weaker one catastrophically will fail too. The opposition has no answer to this. The model, the restriction model, has already failed. We are not speculating about whether company restriction works. We have the evidence. OpenAI implemented internal safety restriction, but did you know their own safety team dissolved because those restrictions were overridden by competitive pressure? The problem here is the competitive pressure is risen by not banning AGI. All these companies right now are currently racing to be the first one to dominate AGI. They want the best. What will they do? They incentivize to just abandon everything. This is shown proof by OpenAI already doing so. And you saying that our ban will work is false. The example of the biggest ban out there currently is the ban of genetically modifying DNA. In 1975, the world leading genetics basically came together. They voluntarily called the DNA research basically stopping it until safety guideline could be established. This is not a permanent ban that you said that would affect everyone. It was a structured pause. There's a purpose. The reason is because it's getting out of control. No one really understands with it. And a clear exit condition. This is exactly what our model says in our second speaker. The ban lasted approximately 1 year, during which scientific communication developed safety frameworks and all of these understanding. And then people continued to develop things that would help for this branch. Without the comparison of my example I just gave, both involve technology that can self-replicate and exceed original parameters, which is basically AGI. You can AGI is self-replicate. This also means that it can make new AGI by itself. Genetic modification can produce organisms that reproduce beyond the original design. This is AGI's similar thing. People recognize that you cannot safely release something into the world that can modify itself beyond your ability to control without first solving the containment problem. The scientists apply this exact logic that we are applying to AGI. Pause first, solve safely, then proceed. This has historically worked. Now, another thing is, you're gonna quote unquote pause development. The opposition just conceded the most important part. They also said that the current AI development, all the benefits, is working, is narrow AI, and currently narrow AI is restricted and controlled. This is our whole entire argument. Narrow AI already works. It's safe, it's already restricted, and it's already really good at what it performs. And we're also not saying that we'll pause the development of AI. We're redirecting the development of AI into, instead of trying to aim for this new concept of AGI, we're focusing on problems like maybe curing cancer and all of these problems specifically, and not aiming for a possible solution that upcoming of this concept of AGI. A ban applies the same logic to the most dangerous extent of AGI. Restrict and control AGI development until it can be made safely. The pause is not productive, empty. During the pause, AI still keeps going, and everything, research also keeps going. It's just that people will need time to understand the safety risk that AGI has for us. And your opposition also has not proved why even AGI is directly better at what they claim to will do. If you want a world where it will be safer, more sustainable, AGI will be controlled, and all the development of everything to be more sustainable, you should vote for us. Thank you.
Thank the previous speaker for that speech, inviting the third opposition speaker.
Okay. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. It was interesting how uncomparative the opposition was in their case. It was funny how they talked about how basically we don't know what AGI is because it doesn't exist yet. The key thing is that we didn't know how farming would be like until we stopped eating slugs and tried farming. We didn't know how flight would be like until we invented flight. And I think each one of those things have significantly benefited humanity. Okay then. So two main things opposition has to prove to win tonight's debate. Firstly, on whether AGI is harmful, and secondly, on would banning AGI actually work and stop the harm. Firstly, on whether AGI is harmful, I think this is the main issue that they are focused on. So, what have we told you under this? We've told you two main things at first. Firstly, it'll improve the quality of life because AGI is just generally going to help us be able to do a lot of stuff. And secondly, the jobs will be lost if it's banned because the AGI development people are just going to lose all their jobs as soon as it gets banned. Firstly, on the improvement of quality of life, what they tried to do here is they tried to symmetricize this with the normal AI thing. I will respond to this later. Secondly, on whether jobs will be lost. So, what have they told you? They told you that the AGI people are going to move to regular AI. I just don't think this is particularly likely because the fact that these people are going to specialize in AGI, that means they're going to be focusing their entire lives on the development of AGI. What we see is it's more likely they're going to go into underground government programs, as we will talk about in our second issue. But primarily, we just don't see they're going to be able to compete with specialists who are specializing in the narrow AI. Okay, then. So what have they said under this issue? They've told you a few main things. Firstly, they talked about how companies are going to be replicable. So we have a few main responses to this. Firstly, companies can be held accountable. Shareholders are worried. Literally, the CEO of OpenAI was worried, and the fact that he left helped slow down the development of this AI. It just kind of shows that these people are being cautious. These people are trying to fight against when the AI companies are being too in a rush. And although they used it as an example on their side, I think this is actually a pretty good example on our side why AI companies are significantly incentivized, no thank you, to actually be more cautious in the approach. Secondly, companies have significantly lower stakes because they can always just catch up. And so in reality, caution does matter because, to be honest, if there's no world left to make money from, companies like are actually it's gonna suck for the companies as well. Lastly, I just don't think it's intuitively likely that a company would risk the destruction of humanity for money. I think there's more likely that some dodgy government is going to be more likely to be willing to do that if they are competing with other governments. No, thank you. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Secondly, they talk about how they're going to focus on normal AI improvement, and this is somehow going to mitigate all the benefits of AGI. They literally said themselves that AGI is going to be significantly more powerful than normal AI. This means that the AGI is just going to be infinitely stronger because it's going to be able to improve itself. It's going to be a significantly better tool. I don't think they can really claim both harms on their side. And yeah, basically, the fact that AGI can be infinitely developed, which means that the AI will not serve as mitigation at all. Thirdly, they talk about concentration of power because AGI, basically, you just have to design the first AGI. I just see that basically, if you can design one AGI, that doesn't mean that the end of all opportunity. You can always design a cheaper AGI, and so therefore there will still be competition. I also don't think the AGI is just like a yes or no question. I think you can always get a smart AGI, a faster developing AGI, and so I think there isn't going to be too much concentration of power here. I also just don't think that this is going to be a big issue. Anyway, thirdly, they talk about how they're going to unban AGI when they can do the research, which was another mitigatory thing. I think that the topic says that we can't research AGI. AGI is significantly different from AI. It isn't fully understood. It doesn't exist. And so there's no real understanding of what it is. It's a technological revolution. I don't think just pausing it is going to help us understand it better. Yeah, I'll take you now.
What mechanism do you have to prove that AGI can specifically solve problems that AI currently can't?
It can improve itself. Okay, so secondly, lastly, they talk about job loss. We tell you that you get new jobs. When we started using animals for work, sure, the farmers didn't have to plow the field anymore because they could use the horses. We still need to house it, we still need to cage it, and we are still going to keep the AGI under control, which creates new jobs. We've told you this down the bench. And lastly, they talk about how basically the AGI is just gonna take over the world. I just don't think this is very likely, just intuitively, because the amount of restriction that it's under. We also aren't giving AGI full control. We are going to have necessary precautions because it's just simply stupid to let an AGI have full reign. We've actually had so much caution in this area. I just don't think this is going to be a big issue. Okay, second issue, let's be charitable and assume that AGI is a bad thing. So the opposition still has to prove that banning AGI will stop the harm. And I don't think they've actually done too much work in proving why this issue is true. So what have we told you on this? Firstly, we told you that there's a massive incentive for continued research. No thank you, in secret. There was no response to this. They just said that basically there's just going to be restrictions. And let's be charitable and assume that basically their model, they're trying to respond to this with their model about registration and stuff. I think that in secret means the country aren't going to register this. This means that basically China is going to have a secret program, America's going to have a secret program, North Korea is going to have a secret program, everybody's going to have a secret program. And the fact that they all think that each other have a secret program is going to be a massive incentive to develop your own secret program because you simply do not know that other countries are going to be developing it. This was a massive incentive that we've told you down the bench. So,
POI?
Oh yeah. No, thank you. No, there's just assume the governments will follow, and I just don't think that it will. They said that basically because the governments will be following the regulations, the companies will stop as well. I just think we've told you down the bench the governments will not be following these regulations, that they will be continuing to develop it in secret, and there's no real response to that. Okay. We also told you that research means knowledge. Therefore, we can better manage the risk if it does happen. So there was basically zero response from this. We are super charitable. And let's say that their narrow AI mitigation, let's talk about their narrow AI mitigation, which we've already responded to. But no, they do not acknowledge or directly respond to this material in their actual case. Okay, lastly, they told you two things under this. Firstly, that the global ban will kind of stop countries from developing it at first. I think we've largely responded to this, but I will reiterate some of the responses. Actually, before that, I will take a POI now.
You say that we currently don't understand AGI. What makes you think you can understand the benefits and harm of it? Also, self-improvement is a feature that all AI already has and is currently just controlled and monitored. It is not exclusive to AGI.
Okay, So firstly, on the self-improvement thing, you literally just said in your first bit of characterization that AGI is uniquely able to self-improve more than AI. Secondly, on the how we will like uniquely wait, what was your first thing again?
Wait, can I say?
Just say
You say
your
that we
first.
don't understand AGI. What makes you think you can understand the benefits of it and harms?
Oh yeah, by researching it. Okay, so the global they said like global ban like stop countries and stuff. We already responded to this. Countries are incentivized to continue research in secret because the other countries might be continuing research in secret. They are even more incentivized to continue research in secret, even if other countries are not. This is just simply like an incentive because you will not trust the other countries not to be doing the research in secret. And also, those are the people who already just like lost their jobs to like the like normal AI aren't going to be moving to like narrow AI. They're just going to be helping these underground programs. So there's a means and a motivation to do this. They also said, as of right now, narrow AI is better. That's because AGI doesn't exist. I think we can't really compare something that exists to something that doesn't exist. Proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank the previous speaker for that speech, inviting the opposition reply speaker.
Alrighty, I will be starting in approximately 3, 2, and 1. The opposition will throw away and completely sacrifice societal well-being because what we have right now is good enough. Well, did the creator of the wheel say what we had before it is good enough? Did the creator of modern computers say what we had it is good enough? Or did the creator of modern day debating say when we had no debating that was good enough? There are two issues I'll talk about in this debate. Firstly, on who gets more benefits to humanity, and secondly, on who gets more safety. All right, let's look at who gets more benefits to humanity. We clearly tell you at first that because AGI is more efficient and can swiftly curate major breakthroughs in critical fields like science, medicine, and climate change, we said that this is urgently needed to improve societal well-being and get people life-saving change. They don't reject that AGI is capable of doing this, so we can only assume that they agree. And note that we weigh this far higher than anything else in the debate because of its scale impacting everyone in the world and its severity. Instead, their main push is that we don't have the available resources yet to develop it. So instead, we should ban it and then unban it when we can do it. So we would first question what resources are needed that we don't currently have. They don't ever really say. But secondly, how would you learn to manage it if you have a total global ban on development and research? We tell you that a total global ban on cancer research, because we may not have the resources to do it, would be ridiculous. And that same logic applies in that it is beneficial to research AGI as it will be positive to society. The only benefits under this issue rely on current AI being good enough, but we said we still have issues in our world, like with healthcare and stuff. They didn't dispute that AGI could make even a few medical advancements, so we should absolutely continue to research and development. Also, on jobs, we tell you that AGI creates jobs and economic growth, and we mechanize this clearly at first. Their only response is that jobs that it creates will be replaced too. We tell you a few things here. Firstly, we say these are ideas of populist Luddites. We also push quite a bit throughout this debate these ideas of the Industrial Revolution and tech advancements and stuff being called ridiculous and being called replacing jobs, but they didn't because we said and we mechanized that society continues to develop to the improvements we have. And we say this clearly down the bench. Even if some jobs will be lost, many new ones will emerge. So we can clearly weigh this way higher than anything else because jobs and a better economy is going to be far more beneficial for societal well-being. The next issue I'd like to look at in this debate is safety. The opposition makes their largest effort on this issue, saying that AGI is dangerous because it can become sentient. A few things. Firstly, we proved that this is false because AGI is simply more advanced learning and problem solving. It still does not have the capability and capacity to become sentient. But even if we take them at best and say they were, and by the way, they weren't very charitable in this debate, but say it did become sentient, they don't mechanize why this was bad. And we tell you that if it did, one, it would be inevitable on both sides. We said it would not be possible to enforce such a ban, therefore it would still develop, but society would be entirely unequipped to manage such sentience because there has been no research done. Also, even if it did gain sentience, we weigh it minimally because in our world, it could be managed because of reasons we explained down the bench, and medical breakthroughs and things like that are far more important. They also tend to do a lot of straw manning. And do they realize that AI just regurgitates current information and collates it? It cannot make connections and resolutions like AGI. Also, do they realize the difference between AGI and sentient AI? They're completely different things. The final thing they talk about here is this consolidation of power. They love to talk about the great race between countries. We tell you a few things. Firstly, that because anybody can conduct research in our world and develop it, whereas in their world, only governments and companies with the capital to do so illegally, this means that it's going to be comparatively better and safer on our side. Okay, two, we also challenge the notion that something like the space race was necessarily bad because it fostered incredible innovation and scientific breakthroughs. What's wrong with competition? Also, we tell you that we already have regulations in place in the world, which are more likely to be followed under our side because there's no outright ban. So it's a lot safer to follow the limited rules when you're in the public eye. Overall, we are the side that's better for societal well-being, we create more jobs, and we have the more safety. Very, very proud to oppose.
Thank the previous speaker for that speech, inviting the proposition to pair speaker.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, let me get my timer real quick. My speech will start in 3, 2, 1. First thing I want to point out in this debate is how contradictory they have been to each other between the second speaker and the first speaker. The second speaker said that when we asked our POI about the restrictions on their side, they said that there would be no restrictions on AGI at all, meaning that the AGI can fully thrive and research can be done. But then on the third speaker, they then say that it won't be unsafe because there will be restrictions. So what are they actually going for? The second speaker mentioned that there will be no restrictions, meaning they can do whatever they want. But then the third speaker then come to the debate and say that there will be restrictions, right? But then the third speaker actually proves to us that AGI is dangerous. Why is that? If there's restrictions being implemented, which means that AGI is being done very dangerously. But secondly, the second speaker also mentions about how Elon Musk said we need preparations to do AGI research, and AGI research is only a threat when we don't have the preparations. But what do we have right now? We don't have any preparations as of now, right? Because AGI currently does not exist at all. So what preparations do we currently have? We have nothing. And how do we actually get those preparations? But currently, by creating a temporary ban to actually get the preparations we needed to actually do AGI the correct way to make sure that no harm is being done. Secondly, on the weighing of narrow AI and on the weighing between of narrow AI and general AI. First of all, both can do reinforcement learning. Both can learn by itself. But there's one key difference why narrow AI will actually benefit society, while general AI will actually harm society over the long run. Firstly, narrow AI is monitored, meaning that every single thing that is being done is monitored by its company itself or the creator of that AI, right? So even if there's reinforcement learning, or even if they're learning new things, every single thing is being monitored. Every single thing is being tracked. So there's no actual harm of narrow AI doing learning. But then comparatively on their side, general AI is completely unmonitored. AGI means that it can self-improve whatever it wants and understand things however it wants. Right? So how are you going to keep research something that is rapidly evolving faster than human? We simply have nothing to actually prepare for ourselves to actually control the AGI itself. Thirdly, they said that if we're going to use the same logic, we're going to stop doing cancer research. But that's simply a cherry picking example because cancer research first, it's not unsafe, right? So there's really no point of doing so, and the example is completely useless. The main metric in this debate is how much will it actually impact society and how good it will do to society itself. Firstly, on job creations. For narrow AI, even if there's researcher researching narrow AI, it won't be able to take over job. Why is that? First, the learning is monitored. Second, it's simply a tool for us to use. So no job will be taking over, even if we develop narrow AI. But comparatively on their side, if scientists do develop general AI, what will actually happen? Firstly, on the impact. Oh, self-learn and self-harm. We self-learn and continue to develop way faster than human, as they said, over 1,000 times faster than doctors can. So what will actually happen? Those general AI will come back and take over those jobs. That is once the creator of the general AI, right? We're basically creating new jobs. We're basically creating new jobs for the short terms, but then in the long term, the things that we created are actually coming back to us and taking our job away. So it's on the point of on the point of job creations, we win on those points because we create jobs for the long term. Secondly, on a better society and better environment, better society as a whole. We need to remember one thing. As of now, general AI simply does not exist yet. It's simply an idea that we currently have. So what is actually better for society? Narrow AI. First, it's more narrow. What does narrow mean? It means that it's more specific, and in a certain case, we gotta use it on. For example, if we're gonna do healthcare, what would actually be more helpful? A general AI or something that's specifically made for healthcare itself, right? Of course, it'll be the healthcare thing, so it's more beneficial. That's why I urge you to for this question. Thank you.
Like the previous